Hey, you heard about that Mario guy?
Him, you mean?
You know, one jumping around the forest?
Yeah, I know him.
Yeah, okay, check it out. I always thought Super Mario RPG was ugly as sin, but it does have its own unique Super Nintendo era, crunchy, heavily compressed 3D charm. Not sure I can put it into words, but Donkey Kong Country's pre-rendered assets hold up so much better to me for some reason. That being said, you're never going to mistake Mario RPG for any other game. It's one of one. The princess gets kidnapped by Bowser riding the Koopa Copter. You know, standard Mario fare. Then the game starts and, oh, I'm already at the castle. Hey, this Mario game's a little weird. Normally you can only move from side to side, but it's letting me go in all 8 directions? This must be what video games are going to be like on the Ultra 64. Alright, let's jump on this little goon man, and holy shit! Sky is falling, up is down, left is right, short is long, what the fuck is going on? Cried 8-year-olds worldwide when they first witnessed Super Mario RPG. Yeah, they all said fuck. Every single one of them. RPG, unless you were a super nerd, those were just letters. You got the new Mario game, and unlike his other spin-off adventures such as Mario Kart, where you can look at the cover and understand that it's a game where you drive go-karts, to many, perhaps most who played this game when it first came out, Mario RPG might as well have been in another language. Despite the Mario name, this was developed by Squaresoft as a way to wean beginners and Americans at large into the RPG genre. A bad sign because, as you may recall, SNES RPG number 9, Final Fantasy Mystic Quest had the exact same mission statement, and it's kind of a legendary failure. Super Mario RPG was Square's second chance. Maybe a little too late because it came out only a couple months before Mario 64, and I'm not sure you could convince me that there was much overlap between this game's audience and who would end up buying Final Fantasy VII a year later. It probably goes without saying, but here it is anyway. Super Mario RPG is leagues better than Final Fantasy Mystic Quest at everything both of these games attempted to do. You can clearly see design decisions made for Mystic Quest which carried over into Mario. In each case refined and implemented in more clever ways. Both titles contain a level select styled world map, so players wouldn't have to wrangle with navigating an open-ended realm. It's also a Mario homage. If you've played Mario 3 or World, then you already know how SMB RPG's level select works. It's also structured very much like any other Mario game, with your goal to collect all 7 stars, each one representing a would-be world from any traditional Mario. Both games contain no random battles, instead opting for the always visible approach. But in Mario, enemies move around, and avoiding them is its own little game within a game, whereas in Mystic Quest, they're completely static, and most of the time you're forced to fight them anyway to continue. Both attempted to be comedy RPGs, for lack of a better term, and I would say that Mario RPG mostly succeeds. My favorite part of this whole game is Booster. Hashtag bring back Booster. His thing is that he's a giant man-child neckbeard that has presumably never spoken to a woman in his life. He has this army of sniffets to bounce ideas off of and do whatever he wants. Then Princess Peach falls onto his tower, and he doesn't really know how to handle it. He locks her up, thinks to himself, how do you entertain a girl anyway? One of the sniffets suggests marrying her, and Booster doesn't really know what that is, but when he hears that you eat cake at a wedding, he's all on board. There's a classic gag where the sniffets are searching for a plush doll of Mario to act out sort of a wedding rehearsal with dolls. Meanwhile, the real Mario is hiding in the curtains so he won't be discovered, attempting to rescue Peach. You need to move back and forth while the sniffets keep opening up the curtains, then Booster comes over, opens the curtain you're behind, and doesn't even care that you're there. In fact, he thanks you for grabbing the doll up off that shelf. He runs away with Peach, taking her to a wedding chapel. Then Mario and the boys steal her back, but Booster doesn't even care because he got to eat cake. Oh, congratulations, sir. The wedding is now officially over. It's a wrap. And he just walks away. Successful wedding, I guess. It's lighthearted, cute, and fluffy humor. As I saw it, Mystic Quest's largest failing is that they didn't make a game that teaches you how to play a standard JRPG because they didn't make an easy game. They made a forgiving one. An important difference. sometimes boiling down to pure RNG whether or not the game decides to use its fuck you attacks over and over again. There's no transparency as to who's going to move next. Its turn order is erratic and unpredictable, which is exactly what you don't want if you want your player to plan ahead. How could you if you never know who's going to move next? Whenever you lost, you were given the option to immediately retry every fight. There's no stakes, you never learn how to fight anything, you just end up rolling the dice again until you win. Mario RPG gets all of this correct. It's not what I would call difficult, but you still need to learn how to play it in order to progress. Dying results in being sent back to your last save point, like in Final Fantasy. Or hell, like going to the last checkpoint in any other Mario game. It puts up more resistance than I expected. Boss battles are all varied, each one has their own little gimmicks, their own wrinkles each one brings to battles. Mario's turn order is also nice and predictable. If the first round goes Mario, enemy, Bowser, then Peach, every other round is going to go exactly like that, so you can actually plan ahead properly. There's a surprising amount of status effects, but one item covers all your bases. You generally don't need to carry different items to cure different statuses. It's one size fits all, meaning that it's not overly complicated, but it's still introducing the idea of status effects and the importance of having to cure them. Plus, revives are some of the cheapest items in the game, here called pick-me-ups, a fantastic name by the way. So there's no excuse not to be stocked up on them. And they always bring you back to full health too, just to make things a little bit easier on you. It doesn't leave too much up for chance. Mario RPG is a game that demands you learn to be prepared. Mystic Quest beats you over the head with a stick and then told you nothing really matters. Just keep taking these hits until you eventually win. Mario RPG is a game that tells you in exactly 5 minutes somebody is going to appear behind that corner and he's going to hit you over the head with a stick, so you better get prepared now. Its battle menu is genius, especially for stupid little kids and non-readers, which sounds silly. If you can't read, what the heck are you doing with an RPG? But I can imagine little kids playing this and it helping them learn. Every button has an assigned action: A to attack, B to defend, which is actually useful in this game by the way, X for items, Y for special moves. Text-based menus are more intimidating than this button system. You see, normal turn-based battles like this are incredibly boring. In fact, this one's just putting me to sleep just looking at it. But in Super Mario RPG, holy shit, watch this! You hit A and it does more damage! I'm actually pretty indifferent towards timed hits, if you can believe it. If they help you enjoy the game more, then by all means enjoy the game more because of them, but I don't know. I mean, that's all anybody talks about in this game. I felt like I kind of had to bring it up. Oh, look at how awesome this is. Bowser throws Mario twice. That's just a good attack. Super Mario RPG is also a master of the Phantom tutorial. You learn about targeting separate enemies from the initial Bowser fight. There are no experience points awarded when you win any of these first battles. It doles out its RPG mechanics one by one, allowing you to digest each of them as they come. After going through your first and second areas, finishing the first real boss, the game goes out of its way to bring extra attention to the fact that this hammer bro dropped its hammer when you defeated it, and you should go into your menu and equip it. A toad is also here, ready to spell out these mechanics more directly if you want him to. Then you put the hammer on, and the first object you equip has a clear and immediate difference. Mario begins the game by punching enemies, but now with the hammer, you're visually performing a different action. Tells the player that equipment matters in a way that isn't just numbers going up. Another thing Mario RPG does to make potential noobs feel more at home is as simple as how Mario moves. More importantly, how he jumps. I promise you that this is the last time I'm going to bring up Mystic Quest, but in that game you could also jump, but it was always at a fixed angle, and while you do jump on platforms, I would hesitate to call anything you do in that game platforming. They did not phone in Mario's movement. The same love, care, and attention went into Mario's variable jump arc as it would have in any other real Mario game. Wow, this is Mario in 3D. This is me moving in all directions. This jump feels good. This is what Mario is going to be like on the Ultra 64. Kind of. Except not really, but hey, you might have thought that at the time. Don't get me wrong. Platforming is hell in this game.
Thank you so much for playing my game.
But it has nothing to do with how Mario moves, it's just a perspective issue. I think it sucks, but these platforming segments also go a long way in packaging this game for new players. Moving along a rigid grid a la Final Fantasy was not going to cut it for any Mario game, regardless of genre. There are also a metric F-ton of mini games, none of which I personally think are fun, but I do think they're a more interesting way of getting some of these moments across. Like, would a cutscene where Mario runs on like a rolling log, would that have had any impact on any players? They all keep track of your high scores too, and they give you rewards for hitting a certain mark. So if you really want to go back, the completionist stuff is all here. There isn't much plot, but what little we do have is told well. Bowser's castle is taken over by someone named Smithy. There's 7 magical star pieces both you and Smithy want, so it's a quest to get all 7 MacGuffins, and that's about it. I love that Mario is this huge celebrity and everyone freaks out when meeting him for the first time. I love that there's a bad Yoshi with sunglasses named Boshi. In Bowser's castle, if he's in your party, enemies refuse to attack him, except for Shy Guys, because they're originally Wart's minions, not Bowser's. That's some next level continuity. Geno fans can shove it though. Geno for Smash? No. Mallow for Smash. This is Mallow's video game. He's adorable. When the classic imposter plot happens, he's like, "Oh gee, Mario, isn't it funny that this guy's name is Mallow too?" In the end, exactly what you think will happen happens. You defeat Smithy, reunite all the star pieces, reassemble the Star Road from Mario World. I don't believe Mario RPG to be any kind of masterpiece. It often gets lumped in with the legends, like Chrono Trigger or Dragon Quest V, but it falls well short of that for me. It's a cute little game, and everything it tries to do, it does well. But I would say newer Mario RPGs would go on to do this bigger and better. The tier list is getting a little too top-heavy for my liking, so we're gonna do some light rearranging. Great is going to be split into 2 tiers. The new one I'm calling Greater. Final Fantasy II, Fire Emblem 4, and Breath of Fire 2 are now on this new tier. Then at the bottom, in between awful and bleh, I'm adding crap, but cool though. And I'm throwing Lagoon and Ultima Runes of Virtue in there, because I kinda like these games even though they're both absolutely horrible. So where's Mario RPG going? Great feels about right. The old one, the lower one. Shout out to William Robert Lee. Shout out to the patrons. Ogre Battle, March of the Black Queen, has won the Patreon poll, and I hear this is like the hardest game ever made, so that should be fun. If you're a patron, go over there and vote. Anyway, that's all I got. Never trust anyone who needs a haircut. Goodbye.